Hi everyone and welcome to the route fly through video for the Chiltern Ridge 50k that's taking place on May the 7th this year. So thank you for signing up if you're running with us. I'm going to be taking you through the route here on Google Earth, just give you an idea of what to expect. First thing to say is we have made a few changes since last year. So if you run it in 2022, this is not exactly the same, it's predominantly the same, but we have made some changes where we no longer go up to Whipsnade, and instead we've extended this section down into North Church Common. So a couple of changes we think for the better, and also we've changed the checkpoint situation. So the first checkpoint was at Whipsnade Village Hall in 2022. This year the first checkpoint is Little Gadsden Village Hall, which you can see over here. So let's start at the start. And let's zoom in on our event base. So we base ourselves out of Fuzzy's Farm. You can see just here we have this nice little field, and you park your cars in here. It's a perfect little event base. It looks quite small there, but it fits everyone in really nicely. We'll have all sorts going on, and when you finish, you can relax, eat some nice food, drink some beer from Mad Squirrel. The Mad Squirrel Brewery is actually literally that building there. So the beer is very much freshly brought over. All right, let's have a look. We've got this first section just to talk about, which is actually, the start and the finish of the race. So it's very slightly downhill when you're starting. Not a lot, but there are a couple of hills in there. Therefore, maybe worth remembering that those last couple of K have a few uphills in them. So leave a little bit in reserve if you can. You're just going through, initially start out on the road, and then we get onto the trail. This is, I think it's the Chiltern Way we join here, and you're following this down to Water's End. When we get into Water End, you split off, and so you're following this loop anti-clockwise. Now, there'll be plenty of marshals in this spot, but this is always quite a tight road crossing. So there are, there's obviously, this is 50 kilometers. There's plenty of road crossings. Most of them are really innocent. This one is a little bit spicy, so we'll have plenty of marshals there getting you across safely. And then once you're across that road, you hit what is really the first kind of hill of the day. So this is the Gadsden Estate here. You're going straight up this hillside. It's not, it's not too steep and it's not too long, but you'll certainly feel it after a nice downhill start. And then you're following the trails, through, fields, forests. You're mainly enclosed on this on a little track, so it's quite a fast section actually that I've noticed when I've run this, and all sorts of different, having to turn left here, straight on here, whatever, turn left here. It'll all be signposted nice and clearly with our orange signs and orange ribbons. Just to say while I mention it, is we do have, this is our website here. On our race pages, we have the links to the route as a GPS on OS Maps, Garmin, Google, and a PDF map as well with the route marked. So everyone is required to have access to that, either on your phone or your watch when you're running, and that really is just as a backup, and we hope you'll never need to use it, but it's good to have that there just in case our signage goes missing temporarily on the day, or even you're just listening to a podcast and you forget what you're doing, and 5 seconds later you realize you've missed a turning. So that's just there. So do head over to the website and get that sorted in good time before the race, and make sure you sort of know what you're doing with that. I think if you're not used to getting the route on your watch, I think the best solution is either download the OS Maps app or the Google Maps app. Both, most people probably already have Google Maps. OS Maps is far more detailed and gives you all of the footpaths, whereas Google Maps doesn't always, but they'll both tell you where you are and where the route is, and you can use that to orientate yourself back onto where you need to be. But let's hope you don't need to use that. As we follow those trails, you'll see that I've got a little marker here for water. In terms of the checkpoints, because that first checkpoint is at 17k, which is a major checkpoint with toilets, with food, with electrolytes, all sorts of things. Obviously that is a fair way into the race, so we've added in this water stop at 8k. So this literally will be just tables with water canisters. There'll probably be a selection of gels and stuff, but primarily you won't need nutrition at this point. It's more that we don't want to, some of you, are going to be 17k, taking a good few hours to get to that first checkpoint. So here's a little water stop to top up. And just a reminder as well, it's a cupless race, so you will need soft flasks, or if you want to take on the Coke or electrolyte at the main aid stations, have a soft cup. We are selling them. I'll put a link on our website for that, and you can pick them up at registration. If you did buy that when you registered, then we'll have that waiting for you already. But yeah, make sure you've got something so we don't have to get the plastic cups out and chuck a load of them in the bin at the end of the race. Okay, so you hit that water point at 8k, and then you go and past Beechwood School, and then we've got a slight change here actually from last year. So last year we followed this trail straight on through the woodland. We needed some extra distance, so we're going a slightly longer way around. So yeah, don't autopilot from last year, that sign will turn you right. And then we get into Studham Common, through Studham, and then, some really nice trails, but undulating but reasonably fast section. And this takes you all the way over to Little Gadsden, where we've got our first checkpoint. So if I zoom in on that, you'll see the checkpoint is in this village hall just here. This is the building. There's all sorts going on, I think, for the Jubilee in the field. So there'll be a bit of activity here, but we've got all of this area. We'll have this all cordoned off for our checkpoint, and you can go into the hall if you need to use the toilets. Out of the checkpoint, and that's where we start to hit Ashridge for the first time. So you go along this golf course. A lot of you'll know this trail from the Ashridge Boundary Run, where you go, well, depends on the year, but this is a nice downhill trail here. We're going up it into Ashridge and then following it around down the notorious steps. You may know what I mean, down through this lovely corridor, the forest corridor here. And then we get, looping round into Ivanhoe Beacon. You'll see we don't actually hit the beacon itself. We do cut that corner just because it gets very, very busy there. And then this is the start point of the Ridgeway. So you're on the Ridgeway now for the first time. And you're following the Ridgeway all the way now to the next checkpoint at Oldbury playing field. So this is, such a beautiful section of the route. We start off with a downhill section, so you'll see that you go down, past Steps Hill, keep going over Pitstone Hill here. You'll notice that we've actually diverted around Pitstone Hill. The rangers at National Trust asked us if instead of going up to the top of Pitstone, we went around it because of erosion issues, so they've saved you an extra climb there. And yeah, following the Ridgeway, carry on going. You're very exposed at this point, which means obviously, if the weather's coming in, you might need your waterproof jacket on at this point. But as soon as you get off that ridge and you're back into the forest, to be honest, it normally feels quite nice again. But that little section there, yeah, you can often feel a little bit more exposed than you'd like to be in the Chilterns. Through Oldbury Knowers, and then you're making your way along the trails over into checkpoint 2. So let's have a look. I think this is the 30k mark. That's right. So you're over halfway, plenty over halfway here. And what we do is we enter the field from this corner here. So you're running down this trail and you enter on this top corner and you run through the playing field. And there we are. This is a good one as well. Like if you've got spectators following you, I mean, there isn't loads of car parking, but there is some car parking, but you can also park in different places in Oldbury. If you did want to meet your runner on the route, there's plenty of space in the field here, so you could easily do that. Now we go out of the checkpoint 2, initially take a left turn, and we have a bit of a climb up into, you can see there, a bit of a climb now up into Ashridge. Zoom back out. You get, quite a steep climb there, but, I would almost say, take on some nutrition, get out of checkpoint 2 as quickly as you can. You can eat that nutrition while you're going up the hill, and then you can start feeling strong as it flattens out, and you start going over into Berkhamsted and North Church Common, which is, a new section of the route for us for this year. But, last year we went straight through here. We're going, through these areas. Now, I ran this recently, and it's a really nice addition to the course. It extends it out onto some trails we haven't seen before. You get very close into Berkhamsted. So let's have a look at what that looks like. So as you get out into Berkhamsted, you do actually run along a road initially, and then you turn left. If you know where this is the cricket pitches. So you're going through the cricket pitches, you actually go through the car park. We'll sign this nice and clearly, but yeah, if you go up that way, you just get into a dead end onto the cricket pitch. So you have to go through the car park, out the other side, across these fields. There's sometimes some horses in these fields. They're normally penned away. Straight across through here. And then this way you get into this footpath here, which hugs the side of this trail. I absolutely love this. It's a nice kind of single track, undulating, really fun trail. And that takes you all the way up to this kind of turnaround point, which obviously there looks very, very sharp. So we'll have a marshal there. And then once you've hit that kind of sharp turn, you scoot round the Friths and Beeches area, and then you're following through the golf course. We've chatted to this golf course. They're aware the run's happening. They're absolutely fine with it, but just be a little bit careful that we do cross one fairway just here. So if you get to this fairway and a couple of chaps are teeing off, then just watch yourself and maybe just stop and allow them to take their shot before you cross. You're at, what are you, like 40 odd K at this point, so stopping for 30 seconds probably will be quite nice. You exit the golf course on quite a narrow little trail here, but this will be signed nicely. And then this is a cool little woodland, which is all downhill. And that takes you to our checkpoint 3, which don't send your spectators to this. This is literally just on the side of the road in a little National Trust kind of parking zone. There is no space whatsoever for cars. You could park at this pub, have a drink at the pub and walk down, but yeah, certainly don't join us at checkpoint 3. It will be a bit hectic if you try that. But checkpoint 3, that's 43k. So you've now got 7 kilometers, 7 toughish kilometers, but 7 kilometers to go. So you go along this road, turning left next to the pub, and you have a bit of a climb here. It doesn't look much, but it will feel quite a bit at 43k. So a bit of a climb up, then you go back down. And then you're in, you've got another little climb here. But as you get to the end of there, then you're joining the road for a nice fast kilometre downhill. And then you're back into where we were at the beginning, where Water's End is. So you run along this, and then you join this couple of kilometres, which is, as I said, particularly probably that bit there. It doesn't look much at all, but yeah, just going across there and going into that woodland, it's going to feel, you're not going to like that at that point. And I apologise in advance, but you will feel fantastic when you do get up that hill. You dot around here, and then you run straight back into Fuzzy's farm, through the finish line, and you can sit down and relax for the rest of the day, the rest of the weekend, the rest of the bank holiday. So there we go. It's 50 odd kilometers. What does it say exactly? We're talking 50.2. Remember, your GPS is not 100% accurate, so some people may shoot over that, some people may shoot under. 50.2 is what we've measured with 835 meters of climbing. There is a 9-hour time limit to get yourself to the finish line. So there we go. That is the Chiltern Ridge Ultra Trail 50k for 2023. We will see you on race day.